Priced it yet. It is The Poet's Handbook. It's by Judson Jerome.
Okay, hold it up again.
I only have one copy. He's the creator of the Poet's Market, which is, I don't know what that is, but it is the subtitle is a detailed instruction in the mechanics and art of writing poetry and answers to the questions most often asked by beginning poets.
Nice.
So it's not looked at it yet, but it has analysis of rhyming and pronunciation of words. You can take the same word or phrase and put accents on each syllable within it and change the meaning of the line.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm looking at you because you're sitting in front of me.
Oh, okay.
I had a.
He's harping on your poetry.
I mentioned something at the meeting I was at yesterday about getting old or something. The guy to my right was offended that I meant him, and I said until I have eyes in my ears, if I don't look at you when I say something, I'm not meaning to exclude you. I just don't have eyes. Don't look at me.
Nice.
I'm going to look through it. I'm not going to.
Is this on your bookshelf for sale?
It will be eventually, but I want to.
You think it's a textbook or what?
It's probably a decent It's called Reference and Poetry, so it's made for poets who want to learn about basics of poetry, like if you're going to have a metered stuff. There's a chapter called Getting the Beat. These are the chapter names here: From Sighs and Groans to Art, well of English undefiled, breaking sense, listening to all God's chillin', lisping in numbers is one of them, Getting the Beat, ringing the changes, the sculpt of rhyme, yard goods, the shape of human thought, loose ends carried away, flesh on the bones, into the maelstrom. And the subtitle of that one is Sensationalism in Modern Poetry. In and out of the closet, finding an audience and how to get published. So it's a little of everything for the beginning poet and probably the not so beginning poet. Because a lot of us who have been writing poetry on and off for 10 years or so don't know what we're doing, and so any help is good help. Anyway, this will be on the shelf as soon as I take a little look at it. So I just want to let you know what's here. I've got a fairly decent section on poetry here in the shop, considering that it's a relatively small shop. And for those of you who have never been in my shop before, I call it the Emporium because I couldn't decide what I wanted to sell, and I still can't. The art on the wall is it's all originals with one or two prints. I don't normally have prints. I had them up for Christmas. They'll be coming down soon, but everything is original. Most of it's local. Oils and acrylics and watercolors and mixed media stuff. Obviously I have used books and new gifts, but I also have new books by local authors, including Joe Dan, who's written a wonderful book, which I have here in the shop, and Marianne Miller. I've got most of the books that she's written available in the shop. I have my book here, and I've got, as I mentioned to Eric, I've got a whole bunch of Jory Sherman. I have Rob St. John, some of his books, and other local authors, all genres, from Christian literature to theological stuff to fiction, short stories, and poetry. So if you like reading that stuff and want to read some local people, welcome to look through it. I don't know, the new stuff's up front.
Your hours are?
My hours are. Is that good English? Hours are.
That's Peckerwood lingo.
It's a docism. It's a docism. I'm open. I have very short hours here. I'm open Monday through Saturday. I open at 10 in the morning. Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm open till 8 at night. Wednesdays I close at 4:30 because I do church on Wednesday night. Friday and Saturday night I'm normally open until about 10, or until there are no more cars on this side of this end of the street. No more cars there. I know no one's going to walk by, so I shut. I do it all by myself. I don't have any help. I don't make any money. I do it for the love of books. I'm mostly I sell other things because I can't make it just selling books. But I love books.
He's out of control.
Huh?
You're out of control.
Yeah, I am. I'm proud to be out of control. And I love Winnsboro, and I love meeting new people. I'll do just a quick promo here. I've published one book. It's my Christian testimony. It's I grew up a Jewish atheist. I ended up working in the pornography industry in Los Angeles. On a weekend trip to Dallas, God woke me up. And although it took 4 months for me to realize that he did that, I came to move to Dallas the following year and profess my faith in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. In May of 1995, I was baptized in July of 1995. I've been a Christian 21 years, and it has changed my life profoundly. And that book is available here for $10. So, I encourage you all to buy it because it's not going to make me rich, but people say it's a fairly well-written book. It reads quickly.
It might make the reader rich, though.
It might, and I encourage you to, if you're already Christian, I encourage you to share it with others. Maybe if it reaches one person and it brings them to the Lord, it was worth the time and money. Whether I never sell another book, I'll be very happy with that. And it's a book of encouragement. God has put me where I've sold the books almost exclusively to Christians, and I was worried about that. Shouldn't I be selling this to non-Christians so they can come to know the Lord? But
it's a good book for Christians or potential
right,
Christians.
I'm an encourager, not an evangelist. I'm an encourager. I don't know any of you where you're at in your faith, in your journey, but a lot of Christians I've met get real complacent about their faith. They go to church on Sundays, maybe Wednesday night because the food is good, and the rest of the week they're just normal folks. And, and this book, I don't try to push my faith on anybody. It's just a story of how things happen. But it does encourage people to realize that God is still out there doing good stuff and making miracles, and it's good to know that. Share that.
You're a good example of what Royce Boterford's piece said a while ago. The best sermons are lived, right, not preached.
Absolutely. So that's really what I do here. I got a eclectic. I'm doing little office supply stuff. Our office supply place closed down a year and a half ago. And local merchant said, we don't have time to run to Sulphur Springs or Walmart or to Mount Pleasant to buy a ream of paper. Can you stock some basic stuff? So I do that. See, I have a huge supply here.
Looks like they had over there.
But I can get anything you need. I can get anything you need. In a couple of days, especially print cartridges. I don't stock all 300 print cartridges that are available. I only stock what people really need. And so, as you see, there are instruments around. I play most of them, not very well. But if you play something and want to come play the piano because you don't have one at your house, you're welcome to play this. It's a wonderful little Kimball, baby grand, and so it has a really nice sound to it. I hope to get a tune soon. I'm learning how to play the dulcimer. I've got one for sale, but I've got the good one is mine. I'm not going to sell that. I've got a guitar back there. It's a classic guitar with nylon strings. You're welcome to sit and play it if you promise not to bump into anything with it. I just got a ukulele, but I haven't started learning it yet.
You got a ukulele?
Well, I showed it to you last month.
Oh yeah. Well, your store, Conrad, is a lot like that one that Garrison Keeler used to talk about on the Prairie Home Companion, Fred's Hardware. Right. Says if we don't have it, you can probably get along without it.
That's right. So if you're a player like Joe Dan is, you're welcome to pick it up and whack on it a little bit. I have a violin. I used to play violin when I was little. I'm not little anymore, so I don't play it anymore. I can play it, but you'll have to walk around with your fingers in your ears. But I have one of those for sale. What else I got? I just got a very eclectic stuff. I've got some beautiful handmade items here, which I'd love you to buy them all, but you can look at them. It's like a museum in a way. And so you're welcome to look around. And,
It's your stuff.
if you decide to want to purchase something, that's great. Almost all of my used books are priced at half what they were when they were new, and then I sell them for half of that. So you're getting, it's not half price books, it's quarter price books.
Right.
I do have some books that are here on consignment that I can't lower the price on unless you really twist my arm.
Yeah, I saw you had Faust. It's in Latin or Old English or what is it?
Oh, it's German, yeah.
It's German.
It's German.
Yeah. The whole book is in German.
In the Gothic
It's not translated
script,
either.
in the Gothic script,
Yeah.
it's only in German in that Gothic.
Yeah.
So you've got to be a miracle.
Faust
Not
or
only
Faust,
know
something
German,
like
but you have to be able to read
Out the Deutsch.
that.
Yeah.
I borrowed my phone out trying to
I
figure out the words.
also have Eric looked at it earlier. It's a replica of the first edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, 3 volumes. The article on America is not a whole column. They thought so little, and that was not just the United States. That was from Canada down to the tip of South America, and it's about almost a column. Okay. The article on anatomy is about 150 pages now. So that'll give you an idea of what they thought. Why they fought so hard to keep us is a mystery. Because that came out in 1771, and that was only 5 years before their independence, when they didn't want to lose us. So.
Did you want to show them the book I got? The one you were talking about?
Yeah, I'll show you
So they
this.
can see.
I'll show you this in a minute.
Okay.
I also have a replica of the original King James pulpit Bible. I've seen the original, and this is, although the pages aren't as old, and it's not on parchment or parchment type paper. All the words are in the picture. The illustrations are identical to the original. The neat thing about that, I was an atheist when I bought it. It was just a large book, and I loved books even when I was younger. And so I bought this book in slipcase. I bought it it came out in 1961. I bought it in the 60s. I was still living in Brooklyn, New York at the time. Paid $100 for it, which was quite a bit of money back at that time. And got it. I didn't open it up. I mean, I've never read the Bible. Atheists don't read Bibles. And
yes,
so I
they
just
do.
I just stuck it on a shelf. And then a few years later, I bought a whole set, like a 15-volume set, illustrated Bible. Never opened it, just stuck it on the shelf. God had a plan for me. I didn't know what it was until a bunch of years later. But I have that replica here in the shop. I have it for sale. They recently came out with the 400th anniversary of it in let's see.
2011?
Yeah, in 2011 they came out with the 400th anniversary of it, and then this is a limited edition. I think they made 1,500 copies of it worldwide, and they normally sell. The new ones sell in the thousands now, and used ones you can get used ones for probably a couple of $1,000. So I have that available here if anyone wants to look at it and focus if they want to use it. But this is. I mentioned Eric, and he was talking about guys like Jack Kerouac and guys like that. And I said, well, I knew this guy, Joey Sherman. He used to come to my shop. He was living in Pittsburgh at the time. A really, really neat guy. He was probably 80-ish when I met him, and had all his faculties except his sight. He could see 6 inches clearly. Everything else was a blur. And he'd walk with a stick. He obviously couldn't drive. His wife drove him around. But he used to visit a lot. He'd put his books in here. He signed them all. So all the copies I have left. He passed away a couple of years ago. but they're all signed copies. So if you buy one of his books, new or whatever, they're signed. They're signed, and really, really neat guy. And he, at the beginning of his adult life, he lived in San Francisco in the 50s, like 54ish, when the Beat Generation started with Kerouac and Bukowski and those guys. And so he was a poet. He started writing poetry. And there's an interesting story in the Bukowski book. At the beginning, it was kind of an introduction. He got famous in San Francisco, not for his poetry, but he had accumulated about 20 parking tickets, and they finally caught him. And there was an article in the local paper about it, and that's how he became famous in San Francisco, as a guy who had unpaid parking tickets. And as a result of that, they also learned he was a poet. And, you know, so he became famous, kind of famous in San Francisco. And this is a book of his poetry with poems from those times in the 50s up to recent times, and usually he'll have a note when they were just called Reflections. And the interesting thing is the cover. See that cover? In 2010, I think, Jory decided he wanted to learn how to paint. He wrote mostly westerns. He had between 400 and 500 books in published. Most of them were westerns. He wrote all kinds of series of westerns. He wrote the Barons series, which is the Barons of Texas, about 5 or 6, 7, 8 volumes of stuff. Among other things, he won the Spur Award several times. He was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize once, so fairly well known in Western circles. And so he got Graham Hopkins, who's local here. I have some of his art here, to teach him how to paint in acrylics. And so, and like I said, he was legally blind. So when he painted this painting, the tree on top, the top thing that sticks up, okay, is it wasn't sticking up. He painted it flopped over. But when he did the reflection, since he couldn't see the top of the painting, he did it straight down. So they airbrushed it in on the book cover. Nice. Here's the original.
Nice.
This is his original that I have for sale here in the shop. And you can see the top of the tree bent over on the top part. But the reflection, in fact, all the reflections different all across the painting. He just couldn't see the whole thing at the same time.
Yeah.
But this to give you an idea. This was done in he didn't date this one. He just put Jory on it. But this was probably done in 2000. One of the first we did, 2009, 2011. So he was a beginning painter, and he had a lot of his work online. He sold several pieces of his work, you know, as a hand painter. So a really talented man, and we really miss him. But I just wanted to give you that these are available. I have several of his books available, including the Bukowski book. The Bukowski book is, pardon the title. The title of the book is The Beast and the Bastard. Bukowski was known as the Beast, so you can figure out who the bastard he was, and Jory said he was. But it's, Jory told me that he paints with words in his writing, and if you read any of his books, his prose books, his novels, in one paragraph, you're there. Okay, he doesn't spend 3 pages telling you that you're behind this bush over here. One paragraph is all you need, and you're there. And the rest of the world doesn't exist. That's how wonderful a writer he is. He says a lot in a little.
Didn't he have a book titled A Master Class in Writing?
He did. He has a book, and I may still have 1 or 2 copies of that one. He taught. He gave a seminar here in Winnsboro on writing, and he was just a really, really neat guy, and a lot of great stories. I won't go into in detail because you want to get out of here, I'm sure. But I was telling Eric, he knew Frank Herbert when he was writing Dune, when nobody knew who Frank was. He hadn't then published anything yet. He may have published some short stories or some magazine stuff, but you know, Dune, of course, is a classic now. And he knew a lot of these people, both in the music business and writers and poets and stuff. And he was sharp as a tack till the day he died, and remembered all these things. And any time he came in here, he would had all these stories. Okay, just really, really neat. And I encourage you to read his stuff. A book called The Grass Kingdom was nominated for the Pulitzer. And he's won the Spur. I think he's won it more than once. But anyway, that's a little bit about Jory. Thank you. And I got books on everything here. As I said, I currently have in inventory over 25,000 volumes. I only have about 8,000 on the shelves. I have another probably 5,000 books that I haven't looked at yet that have come in, donations or whatever. Anytime someone comes in and says, "Would you take books?" I said, "If you bring them. If I can't sell them, I'll find a place for them, a thrift shop or something." But yeah, I have lots and lots of books, new books and old ones. I got signed first editions and they're kind of pricey, and books for $1.
Yeah.
Of everything. And I got a snake right there next to me. My very own snake, won't bite you. Won't poop any place. Nutcrackers.
I like this guy.
Yeah, the skunk.
Skunk, yeah. Skunky, Mohawk.
So with that, I'll let you all go. I appreciate you listening to me drone on here.
Got karaoke at Brewbaker, or not Brewbaker, but
No,
Steakhouse.
Steakhouse.
Oh, he's not doing it.